Hello everyone, and welcome. This is just a quick idea-ish kind of thing here. I decided to do kind of a list of the top 10 worst games I've beaten. Now, there's the key word. This ain't the worst games I own. You see this shelf you see behind me? This contains all the games I have not fully finished or completed to a satisfactory level. Everything I have been is in my new cupboard thing that came with my place here. It's a very big cupboard, has tons of room. Sadly, ironically, I need more room to organize it much nicer than what it is currently. Luckily, there's a lot of space underneath where we can put more shelving, which is something I hope to do. But anyway, back to the point. This is the top 10 worst games in my collection that I have beaten. Not all games are necessarily absolute trash, necessarily. Because to be honest, I don't usually beat a lot of really bad games. So a few of the low parts of this are games that had inspiration to possibly become good, but didn't achieve it because of flaws and necessary problems. So anyway, let's start off with first one that I defend many of times. Quest 64. Quest 64 in America is horrible. I have been always told in the Japan version there was more content added. Like this was like a beta, and Japan got the finished product. I do not know if that's true. It's something I read before, but I don't know if it's true. But either way, the American version of Quest 64, whether that be true or false, is really... It had an interesting concept, and it just didn't seem like it was fully through. But I really did like... There was a part of me that really did like Quest 64. It's a game I think is one of the bad games that I'll always keep in my mind as something I liked and had a chance to be something good. Our next game is a game that could lead to some chuckles, but in the end I thought it was pretty bad. Waz's Hell. Waz's Hell is a very strange game. Basically, it's like... Okay, these Teletubby things are evil and cute and evil. And they want to make everything cuddly in the universe by force. And they come to this planet that is full of ugly things, and they basically invade and kill all of them. And you gain this like godlike power. And you just go on a rampage killing cute things. And it's a really strange game. It has co-op. It's co-op. This is one of those games, plug in and play with your friend and laugh, yes. But it is actually insanely hard later on in the game. It's very, very hard later on in the game. And to be honest, to be brutally honest, the end drove me insane. Literally. It was a miracle beyond anything that I beat this game. So our next one is probably one of the last few games that, I think there's one other I picked that might, we'll leave that as a mystery. But anyway, you probably won't be able to see it very well, but it's Resident Evil Gaiden for the Game Boy Color. Sure, the idea was probably laughed on by most of the fans, but I have to at least give Capcom some effort for their attempt to try and put Resident Evil. Now, of course, it is important to note that this was not made by Capcom, but Capcom did indeed have plans and had created an attempt to put Resident Evil on the handheld. You can find images in that, and I think a unfinished ROM of it. But anyway, back to the point. This could have had inspiration to be interesting. It didn't. It's horrible. It's a side story that ain't part of the main storyline. The final boss is horrible. And its ending is horrible. And it's just... Ugh. It just... I feel like they could have done this right, and they didn't. I know it would be hard to do, but I felt like there was a chance. A small, slimmer chance. I mean, look at Sweet Home. It's on an 8-bit console, and it's pretty terrifying and claustrophobic. Why couldn't they do something like that? After all, Sweet Home was supposed to be one of the inspirations for Resident Evil, so why couldn't it have inspired a fantastic handheld game? Well, I guess it was a missed opportunity. Resident Evil Gaiden remains as one of my most hated games that I ever beaten, and definitely a loss of possible inspiration. Yeah, you can lean against Waz's Hill. There you go. Next is a terrifying game I hate. Real-Time Conflict, Shogun Empires by Namco. It's basically an RTS on the DS. This came out way early in the DS lifespan, and this game is rubbish. An RTS is supposed to be challenging. This game isn't challenging, it is pathetically easy. And it's ridiculously easy, and it has no challenge at all. The enemies are stupid, and the AI is deader than a doornail. This game I got insanely cheap, and I can see why. Next game. The next game is something I actually have reviewed, something a long time ago, probably one of my most original videos. Or, no, what I mean is, like, basically one of my first videos I ever did. Lunar Dragon Song, or called Lunar Genesis in Japan. Oh, where to begin on this one? Lunar Genesis, or Dragon Song, whichever title you want to go through. I love the Lunar series, and I basically have a version of everything in the main series, and if you're going to talk about like all versions, aside from not having Sega Sound versions of the PS1 ports of it, and not having the Game Gear version of Magical School, I basically own all the Lunar stuff. Lunar Genesis, aka Dragon Song in America, in my opinion, is one of the worst RPGs I have played in a long time. Not only did it suffer from boring world conflicts and problems and emotional things, but its gameplay failed to me. Now, when I made my review of this, I was trying to be really hateful, and, I'm a little more nicer. Especially, what really surprised me was that people who liked the game actually commented, saying that they liked it. It kind of reminded me, like, of how the Happy Video Game Nerd said, basically how he kept bashing on Star Tropics 2, and he was approached by many people who actually liked Star Tropics 2. And, I don't mean to bash the game, but I'm sorry, I just don't like it. It remains as something distasteful in the Lunar series to me. But if you enjoy it, don't let that hold you. It's just an opinion. People like Halo, I don't like Halo. I like Final Fantasy IV, some people don't like Final Fantasy IV. It's just all opinions, so. Anyway, our next game is something not many Americans have experienced. It is part of the Resident Evil series, though. It would be Resident Evil Gun Survival 2, or Gun Survival 2 Biohazard, as it is in Japan. Code Veronica, by the way. Gun Survival 2 Resident Evil Code Veronica. This game did not come to America. It was originally an arcade game in Japan with 2-player mode, which you do not get in this version. This version is a port of it, obviously. Has 1 player, and it has gun con support, and it's awful. I beat it in 1 sitting in a very ridiculous short amount of time that I don't even remember, and it is just ridiculously stupid. And I like to comment on something. The Happy Video Game Nerd started a series called Is It Really That Bad? He did a episode based off the original Gun Survival, which the series is mostly known as Survival in America. Resident Evil Survival 1. Resident Evil Survival 1, let me tell you as a comparison, I've beaten both games. I own both games. I have played multiple times. And I will tell you this now. This game is worse than Gun Survival 1. Gun Survival 1 at least did something new. Tried to incorporate a world and system into a new form of gameplay. This thing took out more stuff that the game had in it. It's very arcadish in a bad way. It's basically more of a just run here as fast as you can and beat the stage. There's no real survival. It's more like it should be Resident Evil the Wasteland instead. It's I encourage the Happy Video Game Nerd to do a video on this game. I don't disagree with many of the things he said in his survival video. I do feel a few parts he was being mean though, when he was starting to complain about some of the guns and that he skipped by. I would say it's probably evident that you didn't bother to search, but there are some true things. Obviously, the graphics are bad, the voice acting is very stale, and that. But this game is far worse. Far worse. So our next game. By the way, these aren't in any particular order, just in case you're wondering. I couldn't think of a number order. I did try to think about it. Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Battle. It was Ultimate Battle, right? Yeah, Ultimate Battle 22. Oh my goodness, I remember when this game came out. It was horrible. If I remember correctly, he had an extra mode where you can unlock more characters, and it changed to 22 to whatever amount was added. This game is horrible. There's a lot of DBZ Final games, and there's a lot of well-known ones in Japan. But they gave us this piece of junk. There's all kinds of awesome DBZ games in Japan. Why did they give us this thing? This thing fills up American bargain bins like hell. So we're starting to run out of room, so we're going to have to go whoop 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 with a few of our games. Bum. But we still have plenty more to go through. And they're only getting worse, sadly. Dead to Rights. Just dear Lord. This game looks horrendous. I'm not one to get on graphics, but I just can't help but mention that this game looks horrible. It's on a GameCube. That GameCube is capable of doing awesome shit. This game is boring, the story is horrible, and it's just vulgar and ugh. Now, it's probably more because it's not my type of thing, story-wise. It's kind of like the bad cop in a bad situation kind of thing, or whatever kind of genre you want to kind of refer that to. But, I mean, it's like a third-person shooter, but it's just awful. Awful. It amazed me when I heard they made a sequel or a reboot, or whatever the hell it is, just another game that's in the series. I just can't believe they really did that. I don't even know if this thing sold well. I hope not, because this thing's dreadful. So next is a terrifying, more modern game. Oh, yes, I just remembered. I gave this piece of shit a crappy case that can't even hold the CD properly unless it's closed. Forgot about that. Aragon. Everyone remembers that dragon movie, right? The one that butchered the book. Okay, now, first thing I want to tell you right now, I never read the book. And I'm not saying the book's bad. My sister read the book, and this is how I know. The movie is completely stupid. My sister said the movie destroyed so much. Like, you know, I know you can't fit everything in the fucking book in the movie, but my sister told me so many things that are so fucked up. They should have just not made this fucking movie if they had to do this much shit to it. But this game's awful. I got it for $1, and I got it because it has co-op that scared the hell out of my friend running away, leaving me to play this single player. This game is just, if you see this game for $1 or something, it's a coaster for your drinks. It is not something you should play. Dreadful, dreadful game. Now finally, the coup d'etat. This game, again, had some interesting ideas that I liked, but then it came to several things that made the whole experience fall apart. Mobile Suit Gundam Crossfire. A notorious game that in the PS3 was new. This game was the bane of my existence. The first thing that makes this game awful is just it's unbalanced. And to be honest, a lot of Mobile Suit games aren't exactly balanced well, but there is one Mobile Suit in this entire game that basically rapes everything. And it's the most basic Federation Mobile Suit. The tank gun one from the original Mobile Suit, this is fashioned over the original Mobile Suit. That thing is a murderous bastard. You get hit by one of those, you're like dead. And that's why if you're on the Xeon side, you are completely going to be maured by these things unless you do. I remember in the last stage, it's full of them everywhere. I had to hide behind hills and blindly shoot my gun in the air and try and find the right position that would make the bullets land on them and shit. It was ridiculous. I must have spent a ridiculous amount of time to beat this game as a Xeon. However, there are all interesting aspects, which are basically all the aspects that are outside of combat. The transitioning, money, buying, equipping. To be honest, I can't win them at all. It's been a while since I played it, so I can't win them all. The numbers and that. It had like a day-to-day transition thing, and I can't remember the system fully, but I remember I found it interesting. And considering I got this was one of my first PS3 games, so this is a long time ago in the PS3 lifespan. And I'll be honest, I can't really remember. I just remember a lot of the menu system when you picked a side. Like there's like a calendar on that. You have missions and that. See objectives, prep for missions and that. And if I remember correctly, you buy all your mobile suits and that, and then you could upgrade them if I remember correctly. Oh, and you could also bring mobile suits with you. Wasn't that right? Yeah. So you get some mobile suits to come with you and that, and it could also be an interesting aspect to have with more players. Actually, I'm not sure if you could. See, that says 1 or 2 players. I don't really remember if it has co-op-ish options. It might be a versus mode. But there were also a lot of graphical problems with this. Probably the most famous episode of X-Play that comes to my mind is the one that mocked the water effects in this game going through the landscape and stuff, like popping out of the landscape and that. This game was designed horribly. It's unbalanced. And one mech suit is God in this game. It was insane pain to beat this game. It started out fine, but when it started having missions with tons of the fucking tank mobile suits everywhere, oh. This is one game that disappointed me when it came to Xeon. I always loved playing Xeon. I love the Xeon mobile suits. Can't help it. I want to get that damn Dom as fast as possible. But it's not my cup of tea. And I'm sure it doesn't have its huge fan base. It remains as a disappointment to me. Those are all what I picked out of my entire collection of games that I've beaten as the worst 10 games I've beaten. A few of them I had to think a little about, because again, like I said, I don't have a lot of beaten horrible games, but I do have horrible games. I do have them. They exist in here and there and stuff and randomish. See, there's a questionable RPG. Then we got this weird gauntlet thing that was weird. Oh, and Red Ninja. Oh, dear. But anyway, next time on the top 10, I'm going to, well, I'm not sure to be honest, but I'm going to think of something. I might do the next, maybe the top 10 worst games I own, or just something else, you know. It's something to do new with that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment if you have any comment about these games, whether you like them, you hate them, whether you agree or disagree, or wish to add or discuss about. I am perfectly fine at discussing it. And whether you like it or hate it, I'm willing to discuss about it. I would love to discuss about it. So please leave a comment, and I will hopefully try to do another kind of top 10 again in the future. Until then, I believe my macaroni I was cooking got finished a while ago, so I better eat it. So toodaloos.